Jake turns on O'Brien. Molly is just going through a phase. And a big surprise, Julian wants details about O'Brien's sex life. Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton. We are
Hello, everybody.
Joined by a very special guest, Miss HANA HATAE, who plays Molly O'Brien in today's episode.
Hello, hello.
You guys doing well?
Yeah.
Yeah, doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So the big elephant in the room is Molly, played by HANA. You had a big attitude today in today's episode.
Oh, I was such a brat. After watching it, I was like, really? I was really good at being a brat. Like, I don't know if I was acting in that right there or if that was just my total personality, like, shining through. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I was wondering what they did to get that reaction out of you.
Right? They did it.
I was wondering, were they doing scary faces? Did they have a guy dressed up as Rumpelstiltskin?
I was just going to say
the Rumpelstiltskin. Terrifying. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. They knew the magic thing to do was just bring out Rumpelstiltskin, and
because you give O'Brien the meanest face I think he's ever gotten. I think we've seen on the show so far.
It's pretty.
It's such a good dirty look.
Yeah. That's what you get. That's what you get for, being not my dad, being somebody else.
Yeah.
That's right.
I can sense these
So
things.
you think that Molly could tell, or you think Mommy was just like, Molly, that's not really your dad. Don't be nice to him.
I'm going to pretend it and say that I think she was just very intuitive, but I'm sure Mom had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I didn't know what her deal was until after the show was over. So while I was watching, I was like, wow, he's raising the real BITC. What's wrong with this kid?
Though? I'm like, you haven't seen him for so long, and you're just going to mad dog him and not care. Really?
Yeah. So I thought it was crazy. But then, then we start to get the... This episode felt like a Twilight Zone episode to me.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, the whole time there's like something going on. Twilight Zone always does that, where they leave you in the middle of a situation and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and they kind of reveal little by little until the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I felt about this episode. I was like, wow, this is a typical like Twilight Zone style storytelling.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it a lot, actually, because I'm a big fan of Twilight Zone, and I've watched a lot, if not all the episodes. Everybody says they watched all the episodes, but there's too many episodes to watch. But I think it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Seemed like it was one of those bottle episodes, right? Because everything was just a little tight shot of somebody or two people in a room. Every single time it was just like two people, or at the very end there were four, people, or 5 or 6 at the very end. But it was definitely one of those lower budget ones where it doesn't really affect any of the big story. Like it's completely condensed, and there are no repercussions from this episode to any further ones. And it was just like from room to room to room. I don't think we even saw the promenade at all. I mean,
no, there was a promenade scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were in that, Cirroc.
I was in the promenade scene. Yeah.
Were there any extras there? I remember you guys walking and talking for a second, but
yeah, there were some extras there. It was a bottle cap episode, in the fact that you didn't really have to know any of the other prior storylines to just watch the episode. It's just like stands alone. I watched it with my mom, and she said, "Oh, this Star Trek is good." So she's like, oh, because she didn't have to know anything. She didn't have to follow any alien histories or beefs between planets. It was kind of like, what's happening with O'Brien right now? That's basically what's going on with O'Brien,
Now, has your mom watched any Star Trek before, or what?
Well, she sometimes watches episodes while I'm reviewing them, but this is the first time I think she sat down from start to finish, and I thought it was funny that she was entertained. She's like, "Well, this is entertaining. I could watch Star Trek."
Nice, you converted her.
Just hooked
Well,
her, yeah.
well, I don't know, but she hasn't watched Star Trek, which is another person to checklist on that hasn't watched the show. So now her watching the show is kind of fun to sit and watch it with her. And you, by the way, Hannah, are probably the cutest baby I've ever seen, or child I've ever seen. You're just like the most adorable child.
The cutest, angriest child in
you just
like Grumpy Cat, like so angry but so cute.
Yeah, it's so angry that it makes you cute.
Right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just everything. You're just so adorable, and it's just like you want to pick you up and hold on to you,
Like, just like save me from my maybe not my father. Like I was a little confused in the beginning if that was really him or if that was the clone of him. Which is
you gave that away really well. I mean, however they made you play that, it was early in the show, so it gave you a beat that, you know what I mean, that everybody else was playing, which was weird.
Something is off, and
something is off.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the episode, though. It was very suspenseful. Like the whole time, you're like, all right, something's up. You think one person, like your character acted totally normal, and I think that's the only one. But everyone else was kind of off, and you're like, I don't really understand why. Like, are they the people that have been like changed or taken over, or was it my dad, OBrien? You know?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jake was the only one that he still acted a little bit like, you know, something was up, but he was acting like himself. You know, whereas the others, it seemed like they were all acting not like themselves. That they were just putting on some weird front, or that they were really an alien species with some, you know, hidden veil pretending to be them or something like that. Whereas Jake was the only one that was, you know, it was just Jake that was like, hey, Chief, you might want to just go do what they say.
Yeah, I thought I snitched him out at the end, you know, right at the last second. But
I was so sad. I put A2, Jake.
I know.
I know. I turned into the snitch, you know.
It's like he was trying to help you out too. Like, how could you do that to him?
Yeah, well, you know, I was the late one on the party bus, so I didn't realize what I was dealing with. But you know, in the beginning, it was fun to see the old Jake, old me.
Oh my God, I was,
you know, in my slim outfit.
When you popped up on the screen, I was like, oh my God, it's Cirroc. I like almost, I couldn't speak. It was amazing. Seeing a little baby.
Yeah, I remember those outfits and being that slim and having all that hair. Such a good time.
Cirroc, what would it take you to get into one of those outfits again?
You know, that's a good question.
I mean, if they tailor-made one for you now, not you, you know, when you were 15.
Yeah, I was going to say a time machine.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody made that outfit for you, would you kind of like, you know, waltz around at the next Star Trek convention in that?
Yeah, there'd have to be something attached to it that incentivizes that.
Like a barrel of gold?
Something incentivizing that. That's not going to be an easy sell for me, but you know, those things are like, they're really difficult to walk around in because they are so tight and they zip up in the back. And it's just, it's just like you know,
old one-piece jumper, I guess.
Jumper. Yeah, and there's not much room to do much, you know, bending down or playing catch. So I it's not the first option for me as an outfit right now. And going through puberty wearing that outfit was like another separate podcast.
Do you want to walk us through that?
I'd rather not, actually, but I'm sure you can imagine that.
I already did, and I accidentally made a face. I hope nobody saw it.
There's nowhere to hide.
Put your imagination to rest now, all right?
Now, Hana, what about you?
I was going to say, if Cirroc would do it, I would do it. But then again, they probably would not have to tailor make. Like, I could probably fit in my old stuff. At least the stuff from the later season.
Yeah, you have the blessing of being petite, and you still have that small frame, so you're blessed.
Yeah, so get me one from the last season. I'll totally rock that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would good. I think they just have to bring the show back. We'll wear the outfits.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring the show back. Give us a reason.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, no spoilers, but Hana, did you watch Picard?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I know I'm terrible.
Check it out. Maybe,
but I actually don't have a way to watch it right now.
Maybe you'll get called back to be Lieutenant OBrien or something like that.
Stop it! No, that would be really fun. Honestly, not just to I just think it would be fun to bring the character back.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Cirroc, that you feel the same way.
I do feel the same way. Also, that Rosalind, I thought, did a very good job in this episode. There were moments where her facials, she just gave a great performance. I particularly enjoyed this scene where OBrien is about to take a bite of that food, and she's looking at him like, you gonna do it?
Yeah.
And she sold that. She sold that so well, as far as just like there's something in there. I'm trying to get this guy poisoned.
Can we just take a second and say that stew looked like raw sewage? Like
it looks terrifying.
Can we just admit that to ourselves?
Yeah. I can go ahead and do that. Yeah, absolutely.
I think she was looking at him like, "Are you really gonna eat that, dude?"
Nasty.
I wrote down here coffee, Jamaican blend, double strong, double sweet.
Yeah.
We all got that down. We know his coffee order to heart now.
Love that. That's a really cool detail that they like to do. Like a lot of them like Ractigino, like Dax. Picard, as we know, does tea Earl Grey hot, and now we know what OBrien does. We know Janeway just likes coffee, straight up coffee. So it's kind of cool.
I thought that the Jamaican blend aspect of it just really resonated. That Jamaica was still on the map. We're still around making coffee now. You seeing?
Yeah, all the way to the future.
Yeah, all the way in the future, Jamaicans still got that best high grade coffee.
Jamaican blend.
But I didn't want to take too much away from you were talking about Rosalind. She did do a great job. I thought it was a great scene when he wanted to try to what do we call
get down?
It? Yeah, I was going to say hump, but I guess get down is fine.
Sure.
And
yeah.
But
maybe a little better.
The way she played that, the look on her face was just like almost like disgust. Oh yeah, she was disgusted because it wasn't even because she's like, "This isn't my husband. This is some dude."
Yeah,
who thinks he is. And
which you don't get all these beats until later, which is almost like why you have to watch it twice so you can fully get it. But
you're right.
In the beginning, you're like, "What's wrong with her?" Like, actually, it reminded me of my wife when she was trying to tell me no for tonight. I'm not in the mood. Like, all right, I guess it's not going down tonight.
I guess I'll eat my raw sewage instead.
I'll just go eat my sewage and watch some sports on TV. So, no, she was definitely, she sold it. I just like the looks. She really gave good looks. She gave that feeling of being uncomfortable and made it awkward. And
I think I was going to say, I think she must have trained me for that episode with those dirty looks.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure there was just an instruction with you. Yeah. Like she probably, cause she naturally picked you up. She had you close. And I'm sure that, at some point she said, "Look at that nasty man over there, He's, and you were like, oh,
this guy.
That guy over there. So I'm pretty sure something to that effect. I don't have the details, but that's what it felt like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something I really liked about having an OBrien-centric episode that we didn't have before. Because I think previously we've had one or two other OBrien-centric episodes, but it was about like OBrien and Julian, or OBrien, in more about, him and Oda.
I like the family episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what was cool about it, was that you've got some Jake Sisko mixed in there. You've got Keiko and Molly. this is another one of those episodes where I thought if they had more time, then Nog and Rom could have been involved. You know, it's one of those things where you imagine that Nog and Rom are involved in that storyline, even if they didn't have time to condense it, you know, in the condensed 42-minute version. But it was cool because then you realize that Chief O'Brien is kind of like the central figure in that sphere of, you know, Jake and Nog and Molly and Keiko, you know, so that was really cool. I liked it.
I wrote down one of my favorite things was the last line where he says, Keiko, tell her I love her.
Oh,
no, he almost says her.
He can't even finish it.
Yeah, it was right for a joke. Cute. It was right for a joke when he goes, Keiko, tell her I love. They should have been like, what? Jamaican blend? What? She got it. What?
Strong double sweet? I don't know.
Yeah, what is that message? But it was just like, it was funny because he's looking at him like, that's my life. What you guys do while I was over here knocked out, you know? I know that'd be the first thing anybody would think, like, you know, tell Keiko, what about her? I think that's what he said. What about her?
Yeah.
Like, back up.
That's the first thing he's going to say when he gets home. Sweetie,
yeah,
have a talk.
We need to.
So, how far did it go with you in this?
Yeah, guy? What's going on here?
You know, it wasn't me, right?
About this clone.
Yeah. So
and then she says Molly was real rude to him. He's like, all right, Molly.
That's when I get.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah.
Get an extra little toy.
Daddy's girl.
Yeah. Can't fake her out. Yeah.
I
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's like when I caught my fake mom. Remember when she came back and it wasn't her?
You keep having fake.
I know who my parents are.
They keep trying to trick Molly.
You can't fool me. God, that's so rude.
Why are they torturing this little kid?
You know, somebody's got to get a compilation of all of the Molly scenes. And
it'll outlast like.
And see how many of those are like, you're not my mommy, and go away. I don't like him, and no way, you know, just like
you're a very bad man.
It's like you're the moral barometer, you're the moral compass of the show. You know, like you point out who the spy is.
I can tell. It's just some like sixth sense that I have.
Yeah, you've got it.
Thank you.
You've got it. But yeah, we've had now. So this is. What, the third or fourth O'Brien-centered episode?
I think right around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
It's definitely the third, maybe the fourth, probably.
Which is interesting to me because it seems like there's been more Bashir episodes, O'Brien episodes, and Kira episodes than there have been Sisko.
And Odo's had a few, too.
Odo's had a few. So up until this point, Sisko's had the least centered episodes as the star of the show, which is really amazing to me. Just shows you how good the ensemble cast is, and you know he doesn't really have to do too much to carry this load. This is like self-carrying. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, we're not supposed to know this at this point in you know the second season, but through the
it's gonna get deeper. Yeah,
through the Dominion Wars, it's all him, and we already know who the cast of characters are. Because they've each had so many episodes with such
developing stories, yeah.
So it works out really. And then later on, when they can add a character like Worf, it doesn't take away from the others because they've all had their time in the sun, you know. And then people like Rom and people like Lita and people like Nog can kind of come up slowly, and it's okay because the other people have all had their time, you know.
Do you remember any of those scenes when you see them, or is that just like all new for you?
Oh, me?
Hana.
Oh,
yeah, Hana. Yeah.
Yes. No. Some of them, like, I don't think I remember filming that scene in particular. But when I watched when I'm slightly older, that's when I remember. Like, I don't remember exactly what episode it is that I remember filming, like where it started. Well, definitely Rumpelstiltskin episode, but I think that was like we already talked about that. Yeah. That's like some crazy.
Do you feel more connected with Rosalind or O'Brien, you know?
Ooh, on the record. Wow.
Oh my.
No, I mean, just, you know, maybe having worked with, or maybe just as a child, you lean one way or another. I don't know.
No, I don't really think I had a particular, I wouldn't say like a favorite or one that I got along with or like felt closer to. They both were amazing. Every time I saw them, they both treated me so well that I don't think I had one or the other that was above the other one. Just don't really know how to put that.
Do you have a favorite scene that you do remember as a child, not watching as an adult, but when you think back to the little, sparse memories of, being a child on that set? Do you have like a favorite memory or a memory that stands out, more than just like the Rumpelstiltskin negative thoughts?
Oh yeah, filming. Well, there was the episode, I'm not sure if we talked about this, when I go back in time, I fall into the time portal.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty much every scene that I was in, and that was really, really fun to film.
Because it's basically a Molly episode.
Yeah, it was based around Molly, and just in general, like we filmed it at Malibu Creek, the outdoor scenes, and I used to go there all the time as a child. So like, it was nice kind of going somewhere to film that I had already been multiple times and that I loved going to.
Wow, so you already recognized that place and knew it well, and you're like, this is great.
Yeah, we're just like outdoors having a picnic in a place that I used to go to a lot, so that was really fun. And the swinging scene where I actually fall into the time portal, that are like strapped up into some kind of harness, and they film me like just like flying back and forth on a little rope.
Wow, one of the youngest stunts people ever.
I know. It was really fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Good times.
So we've got just a couple more minutes before we take our first break. I do want to say, what was our little factoids at the beginning? Our little trivioids. That's the one. So you turned on OBrien, Cirroc. We know
you said turn on OBrien, and I wanted to start with that actually. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get that right out the way.
You turned on OBrien, not you turned on OBrien. you
okay.
You turned on OBrien.
He knows how to use words.
Turns on OBrien.
Jake
Sisko turns on OBrien.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. So
we gotta talk about this.
I was like, whoa, I don't remember what that scene. Okay. All right. I turned on OBrien.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta emphasize the words differently when you say it that way. You gotta.
All right.
Yeah.
This is what I want to know. For everybody listening in the comments below, when you first heard that, did you think I said?
Yeah. I can tell you right now,
92%. Or Jake turns on OBrien. Let's see. Yeah. I want to see what the ratio is of what people thought.
I'm guessing 90 to 95% of people thought what I thought. And they were thinking, wow.
Hana, you thought
where's this going to go?
I did. I was pretty confused by that.
Because we know where your mind's always at, Brian.
What?
Dirty.
On Golden State Warriors basketball only.
Yeah, Sure.
And the other one was, we'll have to hit this one over on the other side of the break, but Julian, big surprise, wants details about Chief's sex life.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get into that.
We're going to be right back with the seventh rule. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the seventh rule with Cirroc, Lofton, and HANA HATAE. We've got Jake Sisko and Molly OBrien talking some Deep Space Nine with us, and we are doing a review of Season 2, Episode 14, called Whispers.
Weird name with the Whispers, though. I mean, I didn't get the title.
Weird names in a row. Speaking of which, I was talking to our good friend, Miss Anne Marie, and she was thinking that this was a clerical error, that when we had the alternate, it should have been the name for this episode. Remember how 2 episodes ago we're like, why is it called the alternate? Whereas,
right.
It would totally make sense for it to be called the alternate, right? Because OBrien was
the alternate OBrien. Okay.
No way.
And
that's super weird.
And then maybe Whispers would have been the one 2 episodes ago or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly what was going on there, but it does seem like there have been 3 episodes in a row, or 2 or 3 episodes where kind of like the names just.
Yeah, last one was Armageddon Game and didn't really fit. I mean, I just didn't get the whispers. I understand that they were probably whispers behind his back that he was. So I get that.
Okay, you're right. That works.
The alternate seems like it would work better, though.
That exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
And
maybe what it was that the alternate was going to be the name here, but then when they named the other one the alternate by accident, they had to come up with a second title that kind of worked too. So they're just like, oh, let's call it Whispers then. That kind of works, you know?
You know, another thing that stood out to me, and I this is not on the same tangent, but completely different beat, but they mentioned replicas, and this episode is about the replica OBrien.
Mhm.
And it's interesting to me, and I know you didn't see this, Hannah, but in the pilot episode of Picard, it starts off talking about replicants or synthetic androids, right?
Huh.
So it was interesting to me that we had dealt with this particular subject almost exactly that Picard is now picking up from, right? The ban of synthetic life. So just a little tie-in there for the...
There are a lot of tie-ins from Next Generation too that we'll talk about on our next Picard review. But definitely when they're doing Picard and they're doing new stuff, they try not to just take everything completely brand new out of left field. They try to kind of tie things in for Star Trek fans to recognize. You know?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why not do that? Otherwise, you have this.
And I also think it's interesting because if you look at Data and how generic his skin is in Next Generation with the pale look, and then you look at how they replicated OBrien, you're like, well, why didn't they make one that looks more, you know, human if they can, you know?
Oh, for Data?
For Data, yeah.
Solid question.
Solid question. Who are these parables? Or
I was wondering too.
Yeah.
Do we ever learn more about
Paradas.
Paradas.
I don't believe so. I think this is the first we've heard of them. At least I didn't recognize them. I didn't recognize the way they looked. I didn't recognize their name. So
they had a real unusual look to them, right?
Yeah, and that kind of makes you go, damn, I wish we got to see them more because they actually had like elaborate alien masks. They weren't just like a guy with like a blue dot on the side of his head. Like, what are you talking about? We're totally different.
No, their outfits, their weapons, everything was kind of really cool about them. I like the guns they were holding, little phasers. They had their own little design.
Did you draw them?
I didn't draw it. I didn't have enough time. It was just a quick flash, and I didn't go back. But I liked the phasers that they were holding. They were like really cool, like stainless steel looking things.
some high tech stuff?
So I'm looking up Paradas right now to see if they were in other episodes.
I had never seen it before, and it was interesting because according to the script, we're at war with them, right? And there's like a beef with them, so you can't do any business with them. You can't be negotiating with them. And that was what was setting OBrien off.
Yeah, and they're having some kind of peace talks or something.
So
peace talks.
Here's the answer. It seems as though that's the only time that they were really part of a story. But the alien species itself was in a multitude of other episodes. They were frequently seen on the promenade, like in the episode Facets. There was an Antwerp conference on Deep Space Nine's home front, which was way later.
A twerking contest?
Yeah. Antwerp. That's a place in Belgium.
Oh, okay.
And is it Belgium or is it Netherlands? I think it's Belgium.
Could not tell you.
And there was a wounded Paradan that was being cared for in the battlefield hospital in Deep Space Nine's Nor, the Battle to the Strong. So it seems like that's the only time that they were really part of a storyline. But so what they did was they reused that mask and that alien stuff, as background guys in other episodes.
Yeah, why waste all of that for one thing? Yeah.
So what do you think about Bashir being Bashir? The first thing he does when he has OBrien in his doctor's office, he goes, "How's your sex life?" He's like, "That's fine." And he's prying for details. He's not just like good or bad. He's actually like,
tell me everything, basically.
Details.
Yeah.
That's the friend.
Yeah, that's the horny friend.
Yeah.
Bashir knows how to cross all the lines in
Every
this
episode.
Yeah, if there's a line of inappropriateness, he finds it and crosses over it. But it's funny because it's like coming from a doctor, right? So it's like the person you trust and be intimate and be naked in front of is asking you these really inappropriate questions. So it's just Bashir being Bashir. What can you say at this point? He's done worse.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst thing he's done, Cirroc?
I think his relentless attack
on Jadzia.
on Jadzia Dax is just. I just shake my head sometimes, like, oh God, here it comes.
And it's only the second season too. There's so much more to be done still.
Oh, it's just like he's the Harvey Weinstein of DS9. Unfortunately.
Wow, he's going for it.
Man.
I went for it. I did it. He wants a favor for a favor.
Now I'm kind of sorry I asked.
But you asked, man. Sorry.
Thanks, Ryan.
I'm gonna
what?
change the subject eloquently here. What do you think about when Quark says it's always good business to know about new customers before they walk in your door? And Chief says, which rule of acquisition is that? And Quark says, one of the
high ones.
194, I think. That continues to make us think that Chief is normal and everybody else is crazy, because we all think, what do you mean one of the high ones, Quark? Quark would know immediately which number it was. Mm-hmm. And the second he goes, I don't know, one of the high ones, it makes us think that's not Quark, right?
Yeah.
Definitely throws you off a little bit.
Yeah. There's a few things that make me think that people are not themselves. The other one was when Sisko is caught openly lying to O'Brien about Jake. And Sisko's not a liar. That's one thing he's not. He's actually overly direct sometimes. The last thing he does is skirt around the truth. So when he did that, I was like, okay, maybe is this the real Sisko? Why is he lying?
Yeah, and then when Keiko says, Jake's suddenly not feeling well. He's not coming in anymore.
I just saw him. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, a lot of whispers. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's when Molly's supposed to come out and go, Mommy's lying.
She shipped me off to somebody's house. She knew it was going down. I was
You're right.
House or something. Molly was like,
because you couldn't keep the poker face. You were giving it away.
Well, now we look back and after you watch it, like you said, Cirroc, once we know the answer and we look back, everything makes sense. Of course, she put Kid off with somebody else because she was worried. We don't know what this guy is going to do. We just know it's not the real O'Brien. So I don't want her in harm's way.
I love the episode. I really did. I thought it was just a perfect Twilight Zone episode. The other thing I thought was interesting is the baseball that was on Captain Sisko's desk. It featured prominently in this episode, and I wondered if this now was the first time we're really seeing the baseball on the desk, because I don't remember it.
I think we saw it at least one other time, and I don't remember when, but it was in the first season, though, and we mentioned it then, but it was a while ago.
It's been a while since that baseball has popped up on that desk.
You're right, yeah.
So I wonder what that means.
Yeah, I did too.
Maybe that's the alternate.
Uh-oh.
Or that's what was whispering.
Did you do any sketches today, Cirroc, by the way?
I have a very cheap sketch. It looks terrible. It was of the little runabout that O'Brien flew away in. So that's my little runabout right there. It's really ugly.
Much better than I could do.
No, I don't think so. It's pretty basic here. I noticed this though. So Les Landau is directing this episode. There's not much action in it. It's a lot of, dialogue and talking to himself and going through scenes by themselves. In some cases, a lot of scenes of O'Brien just by himself, which is not easy to direct because there's not much there, right? But I thought it moved along well. So shout out to Les. in how he cut that up. And
do you think he's at home right now going, I don't want your shout out, you sealed stem bolts?
I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't want your shout out. Buddy.
I know I drove him crazy with Aaron, and I drove him crazy, but I think that he probably enjoyed not having us too much both in this episode. But he still had to direct me around in this one.
Hana, real quick, Les Landau was the guy that directed the episode with the self-sealing stem bolts.
Mm-hmm.
And Cirroc and Aron used to always get a good kick out of the fact that they had to do that scene like, what was it, 19 times? Or
something like that. And then when Les crazy.
And then when Aron... when Aron finally got it right after like 17 tries, that line, then Cirroc forgot his line because he was so used to Aron messing it up.
I was so used to him messing up at the exact same spot. He was like, I'm not going to have to
say anything, right?
Yeah, so when he finally got it right, he's looking at me like, fucking say your line already, say it. Like, and I'm thinking, what is my line?
It's like, are you sure I have one right now? I don't know about that.
At first I didn't even realize I had one. Then I was like, oh, I do have a line. What is it? Damn, I forgot the line, waiting for him to get his line right. So, but that's
why it's always funny when we mention Les Landau. It's just
But one thing that popped out to me too was the music, and I wrote this down. I like the music that scores the scenes. It goes off in the very background, and it's throughout the whole episode. It's just scoring the music score, and it adds to the drama. It adds to the heightened sense of kind of intensity that you feel when you're watching the episode. And it is also another reason which to me parallels Twilight Zone. Because Twilight Zone always used to have this music that accompanied each episode and brought the emotions kind of along with the music,
Yeah, good point. Theme songs for each episode. Or theme. What Star Trek, the original series, did so well is that they would give sometimes specific characters or villains like a theme song. So you would get these unconscious musical cues that, the villain's about to come in because you recognize his or her song from the previous scene or something like that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's cool to do stuff like that.
What would your theme song be, Molly?
Oh, no. I don't know. Something.
When Molly walks in, what's her theme song?
I mean, it's not going to be super happy, but it's also not. It's not going to be like. Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe slightly dark.
Something suspicious.
Because I have this weird sixth sense, remember? So it's like.
Cirroc's got it.
It's dun.
That's the stormtroopers.
That's the storm. It's the stormtrooper Star Wars.
So I'm not quite a stormtrooper. I'm not that evil.
Okay, all right.
Molly's not that evil yet.
All right, okay.
Pretty similar.
Cirroc, what do you think your theme song would be? Another Star Wars tune, maybe.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know, like Mario theme song just popped in my head.
It did. Thank you for that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I could go for that.
Right?
I could go for that. Yeah.
All right, everybody listening, give us your suggestions for what their theme songs would be. We've got Super Mario Brothers. We've got the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I don't know how well those fit, but I like them.
Ryan, what's yours? We got to give you one now. It's official.
I think mine would be like the bass line of every like Hispanic song you hear in a restaurant. You're like,
oh my God.
That's not what I was going to guess there.
No,
that was not my guess, Brian.
Well, whatever Pepe Le Pew's theme song was, it might be that.
Are you saying you stink? Is that what it is?
No.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Hana got you on that. She's pulling your card right there like Aaron would.
Because I smell like skunk. Cirroc's like, I don't mind that smell.
Oh, yeah, well, if it's Jamaican, if it's from Jamaican, double strong.
Mm-hmm.
Double strong, double sweet, man. Don't forget.
You see, original.
Yeah, we don't mind the smell of skunk nowadays. We like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we got to figure out a nice theme song for you, Ryan.
Oh, me?
For you, yeah.
You guys are happy with the ones you got?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sure, I'll take it.
All right. So in the comments below, everybody's got to give us suggestions for theme songs, and then we'll come to a consensus. And then Hannah's going to work on that, and she's going to come back with like re-edited versions of all the scenes.
Okay.
Remixed with the theme song in the background. This is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you said remix, it made me think maybe I want some CNC Music Factory as mine. Like everybody dance, going to make you sweat.
Everybody dance now.
That's the one. See?
Everybody dance now. Okay. That's a good one right there.
All right. We also had a POC-LED sighting. Sorry, PAC-LED. I think I call them POC-LED because with Picard's accent in Next Generation, I think he might have called them POC-LEDs. Either that or I just made that up. But they're called PAC-LEDs. I've been reminded. PAC-LEDs. They're the really slow guys that were in an episode of Next Generation. They're not really featured in Deep Space Nine episodes, I don't think, but we see them in Quark's bar every once in a while. So you're right. We did have a little bit of that. They're the guys, they kind of just look like big, dumb idiots. And because they're actually played as big, dumb idiots where they just like talk really simply. They're known for saying, he makes the ship go. They're just like these really dumb, slow, but people love them because they're so funny. But anyway, we had one of those. I do love the PAC-LED sightings.
Yeah, there was one scene in the opening where they have the runabout going into the wormhole. I like the graphic on that. That was cool, like something newer from the first season. Just showed me a little bit of a investment in the special effects. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I liked a lot too was the conversation. It was very brief, but when OBrien stole that shuttlecraft and he jumps in it and he gets Sisko online to talk to him. Sisko says surrender, and he says, "I've already shut down I've shut down the tractor beam, and I've turned off the bay, so you can't catch me." And then he says, "OBrien out." And it was like it was a big mic drop moment for me the way he said that. He hung up on Sisko, so it was like OBrien out, and hung up on him. And I thought, wow, I like that. I just like that little moment.
Good thing it wasn't the real OBrien. Otherwise, the real OBrien would be hearing about it later. But I bet Sisko's still kind of mad at him when the real OBrien comes back. He's like, "What are you mad at me for, sir?" He's like, I want to be mad at you, but I guess it was the guy.
I know how you would have played things. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing that we got an insight. It was almost an insight on how OBrien would act if he felt that there was a mutiny, or if he felt like the ship was doing something that they shouldn't have done, right? So he went to the higher authorities, went to the admiral. Like he was like the whistleblower. He's like, "Dude, something's not kosher here." So we get an insight into how OBrien would act if he thought that everybody was turning against him, or if he thought something illegal or suspicious was going on,
right.
Yeah, I think at the end, Sisko mentions that he's like trying to possibly be a hero by going to the authorities.
Yeah, exactly.
Like actually him.
Right. He wasn't doing it for the bad. He was actually trying to be a hero and save the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then the other question I have is, do the people he kill, are they dead now, or were they just stunned? Because in that episode, a couple of people were fired with phasers, right? I think he shot at a couple of people.
Hopefully stunned.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they were just stunned, yeah.
That's all we can hope for. When you mentioned the shuttlecraft, though, there was one little thing I wanted to point out, was that if you'll notice, the computer's voice is always played by Majel Roddenberry.
Yeah.
And she has this calm demeanor in which she answers the question. She says, like, "Please specify the parameters," or something like that, right? What I noticed was when there was kind of the climax, which was when Chief was escaping, in the shuttlecraft, and it's getting, a little bit more intense, her dialogue speeds up as if she were matching the scene, because his stress level is higher. So he's like, what's this and what's that? And tell me this. And she's speeding up too. Now, obviously a computer wouldn't do that. The computer would stay slow and relaxed. But I thought that was a good directing note, was that he told her, hey, this is going to be a more tense situation. So kind of speed it up to match the intensity of the scene. That was certainly got to be a director's choice.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed it until you just said that. And now it kind of stands out in my mind. The computer would be calm no matter what, right? Like, computer, we need shields up right away. Shields are up.
But then it would stagger the scene. It would make the scene not flow,
Right. But in this case, the computer matched the intensity of the guy screaming into it, right? Computer, I'm trying to get the shields up. Give me a second. It's like, oh. So yeah, I thought, I do think that's something important to note, and I'm sure that was a choice that was made, like you said, in the moment by the director to adjust the pace, and also the kind of imminence of the moment, But I think that's a good call. I also did notice the voice, but it was still Magel's voice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard voice also. For a moment, I recognized it while I was listening to the episode, watching the episode. I said, "Oh, that's Magel."
That's why it's cool when we see what is it, Loxana Troy, her playing Loxana Troy, because then she's playing two roles in an episode.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, really she did the voice of the computers for a long time.
Yeah.
There's the puppy. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, I'm sorry.
For those of you listening in, by the way, Hana has a bunch of skeletons on her wall that she threw in the closet recently.
The skeletons are out of the closet.
They are. They are.
What are they there for? Do you just enjoy skeleton decoration, or are they just?
I just enjoy them.
I like the his and her. It's a his and hers, right?
Mm-hmm. He's got a little top hat, and she's just got like a little, one of those hats you'd see if you go to like a horse race or something.
Yeah, some of the hats that the queen wears.
Yeah, those big ass fancy
hats.
For the A word.
So we only have a few minutes left here, but I did want to mention back at the beginning, they do have a little bit of talk about when Keiko's saying, oh, I want to, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I didn't quite fully understand what was going on there. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm going to take, Molly to go learn this Klingon opera thing or whatever. And she says, oh, I just want to go while my mind is fresh. I'm like, that's the best thing she could think of. Whose mind is fresh at 5:30 in the morning?
Nobody. Yeah, that was interesting.
Even if you wake up at 4 in the morning, is your mind fresh at 5:30? I mean, give me a break. Sarah, you're a morning bird.
I'm a morning person. I usually get up at 3:30, work out, go back to sleep, then get up again for the second workout at 5:30.
Just absurd.
But
just absurd. Is that
just absurd? It is absurd. It is absurd. Especially when I'm not in shape. That's not a good look. No, but the funny thing is that there were a lot of things here that like kind of gave away. There were things that gave away lies, And I thought the real one that stood out to me was the one that Odo was telling when he met with OBrien, right? So it seemed like OBrien and Odo, they were on the same team, and Odo was going to get to the bottom of it, and he couldn't be manipulated in this kind of way because he's a straight by the books guy, right? Mm-hmm. And so then he gives away that he's in on it, and OBrien can read it, and sensed it on him and called him out on it. They've gotten to you, haven't they? Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I don't know what's going on, but somebody's doing something, and they're getting everybody before I am.
Right. Right. And I thought that was funny because you would think that he wouldn't say that he knows that Odo is in on it, right? He wouldn't. I would say, like, if I thought somebody knew something, I wouldn't call him out and say, that you're in on something, aren't you? you would just say, okay,
try to
another
figure
guy
it
that I
out.
can't trust. Yeah.
They're like, all
But we
right.
have seen how Chief is kind of like that crotchety guy where he, like Odo would play it close to his vest and be like, I see, and he'd go off and do his own. Whereas Chief would be like, damn you all, you're all a bunch of jerks. Damn it.
Yeah.
I hate you.
And it's funny because one last thing for me is that this exactly reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode, and this is what I thought the episode would turn out to be. So as I was watching and I was trying to come up with my own ending, and what I came with was basically what the Twilight Zone had come up with earlier in a similar kind of episode, in which that all of this was just part of a training exercise to see how he would react in a certain situation. So at the end, they take him out of this module or whatever and say, okay, you did well, you passed the test, whatever, you did the right thing.
Scarred for life or something.
And or he passes and he gets another pip on his collar or something. But something to that effect, where it was like a training operation inside of a controlled environment. So they were watching him, monitoring him, his vital signs, maybe a dream training sequence or a holodeck training.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. And on that note, we've got to run. We're going to do the free-for-all second here. So everybody stick around for the free-for-all. One of the trivioids that didn't make the cutting room floor, we already covered, which was Chief drinks way too much Jamaican coffee. I think we covered the hell out of that one.
Yeah, Jamaica.
So everybody stick around. Thank you so much for joining us. For Imo Radka, Rex Wood, Dennis Koch, Homer Frizzell, Eve England, and Kat R. King, always remember the seventh rule.
There it is.
Hey, everybody.
We got
the free-for-all going. We've got Heather Jordan putting on her lipstick, so we're just going to pause for a second while she does that. Oh, that's
just
it.
pause.
Okay.
And
we do also want to thank HANA HATAE for joining us. She had to run because she has a sick dog who also has.
Yeah.
And we welcome Heather Jordan, Homer Frizzell, and Rex A. Wood. Hello, everybody.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Homer
was telling us about Scrabulous, and I don't know. I'm stuck on Scrabulous.
Tell us more about Scrabulous.
Yeah, so I got to know my current wife through, well, I've only had one wife, so anyway, through, start over? No, just kidding.
Take two.
Yeah, so Facebook has a bunch of apps, and back a while ago, they had something that was like Scrabble. It was Scrabulous, and we were just playing, and then our first date was about getting together to play Scrabble for real.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Did you tell her, were you like, but I don't play games, honey?
No, I didn't use that line.
No, that's a Bashir line right there.
That's yes. And her arches were beautiful.
Her arches. Yeah.
Her arches. Beautiful feet. No.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
So you went from Scrabble online to Scrabble in real life.
So it was supposed to be Scrabble in real life, but she's in the dance world, and there is this event, I think it's every year, which is Broadway Cares, where some dancers are wearing some big hats and they're raising funds around Easter time, Easter bonnets and stuff. And she was working with some of the cast or the chorus, I guess you could say, from Hairspray. So our first date was me and my cousin and his girlfriend going and seeing this rehearsal at the, I think it's the Neil Simon Theater. And then afterwards, she was hungry, which I've learned if she's hungry, you go with that instead of going to play Scrabble. So we never played Scrabble that day, but I got to see George Wendt walk off the stage.
Nice.
Because he was in Hairspray at the time. And then we went for Mexican, but no Scrabble.
George Wendt, for those of you at home, was Norm in Cheers,
right?
Who had such lines as, "What's up, Norm? My nipples, it's freezing out there." Or, "How would a beer feel, Norm? Pretty nervous if I were in the room." Anybody else have any Norm lines?
No, wow.
Me.
I'm surprised you could just come off with that many off the top.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some. Wow, let's hear some quotes from The Shield.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay.
Hey, what kind of flight suit you got on there, Rex? What is that?
What?
Is that a flight suit?
No, this is actually for our shift. This is our kind of dress down when we don't wear uniforms.
Oh, that's your
Starfleet Command here.
Space Force.
Yeah, we've got. Oh, yeah, and then it's got the Marines on this side, so kind of like that. Yeah, it's the Space Force thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Space Force, right?
I shouldn't have even brought that up.
No, well, I mean, we
now
do
you're
it
in
up.
trouble.
You shouldn't have, but you did.
No.
You did. You brought up Space Force.
I always do. I always start to say something like, "I wish I could." No, take it back. Oh,
It's too late now.
You hit send. It's too late.
But let's just try to keep moving.
You do have a cool picture of Nog behind you. That's really cool.
Yes.
Do you know what episode that's?
Nog noggin.
No, I'm not for sure which one it's from. It's really a nice picture of him.
It's a good picture.
I love it. Yeah.
The colors remind me of Little Green Men. I don't know if it is or not. I have no idea.
It could be. I grabbed it and saw it, and I'm like, this is really nice. Except it kind of looks like Godzilla in the background. I should be going.
No, but what's good about it is, they had him kind of as like the comedy or Jake's other yin to his yang. But in this thing, you could tell he's doing and saying something really important and really
right. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say this is what I would consider Nog's serious look. Definitely a serious look. Yeah,
it's a great one. I love it.
Yeah, he can get intense when he has to. He goes from 0 to 60 really fast.
And speaking of which, we have Homer's got a screen capture of the episode we just covered, which was Whispers, Deep Space Nine's episode 14 of season 2. And we had Hana on, and Homer's got Molly back there, who, when Homer looked at the script, you said she had how many lines in total?
She had 2 lines, 3 words.
Yeah.
And what were they?
I might get the order wrong, but I know the words. So it's go away and no.
Yeah.
Which are pretty much her lines, like in every Molly episode, right?
Yeah.
No, go away.
No. Yeah.
She says daddy a few times, doesn't she?
Maybe.
Throughout the series.
I think you're right. You're right on that.
I mean, this is the 2nd season. I think she'll get more words later.
She'll say like, "I don't want to" later.
Yeah, or to be, "Why didn't you guys show the mug that I made?" Stuff like that.
Oh.
I found a mug that I made in high school in storage the other day. But I left it in storage, so I can't show it to you.
Oh, but speaking of show and tell, who are you wearing today, Heather?
Oh gosh, I'm wearing Ryan today.
Let's see.
It's Ryan.
Arrgh.
Yeah.
Arrgh. That's his serious face too.
Yeah.
Also known as Ryan Garoppolo.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Cirroc humor right there.
That's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
Take a bow, Cirroc.
He reminds me of the 49ers quarterback there.
He's saying that for good luck because he hopes the 49ers are going to win.
You know that. You know it.
And this is T7R episode 49 today, right now.
Wow.
So I guess we know what that means.
So we had to honorable mention at least.
Yeah.
So
number 49.
Let's go around the table here and say what our favorite Molly moments of all time are. Starting with, I guess, Heather.
Oh, wow. Whew.
I don't even know. Like, I haven't really watched any. I can't pinpoint one Molly thing. Oh, you know what I would say actually is the Rumpelstiltskin episode where just, like Keiko and Molly appear on the, what is it called? The Command Center?
Oh, yeah, the
bridge. It's not called the bridge.
Ops.
It's Ops.
Yeah.
Oh, Ops. Yeah.
Keiko and Ops. Yeah, when they just appear in Ops for no
he's
reason.
like, and then, that was probably great. That's, Keiko's all like, and,
just that whole episode where, that episode in general, where she comes out of the bedroom and she's like, "Mommy, Daddy, there's a scary man in my room," and they're like, "Go back to sleep. There's no one in there." And then Miles goes in there and there's little Rumpelstiltskin in her room. So, that's probably my favorite Molly-centric episode.
Nice. Very good. That's definitely a favorite of the show, too, when Molly and Keiko just pop up out of nowhere in ops for no reason.
It's like, would you trade them to save the station? Well, that was a
hard
decision.
What about you, Rex A. Wood?
This is hard. I'd have to go with Heather on the Rumpelstiltskin one too. That's just where I'm at on that. Because that was such a great episode, and it was a great part of when they actually appeared on the Ops Center. I mean, I would have to go with that one too. I think that was one of the neatest episodes there with her.
You have some really cool patches on too. Can you show us those?
Mine?
Yeah.
So this is the regular. Here, let me get a little closer because I'm so far away. So that's just the UFP patch.
Uh-huh.
This is actually our ship patch because since we are the Hunter S. Thompson, I don't know if you've ever seen his logo with the Gonzo arm. That's actually got that way. And then when you spin around here, this one actually is the Starfleet Command, which is the main club. And then when you go around here, you get to the Fleet Marines.
Nice.
1st Battalion Fleet Marines.
Very cool.
Which were the Makos to begin with, but then became the Marines. So the Marines is a whole nother branch of our club that we have reservists within our ship. So I'm a member of that group too. So that's what it is.
The Mako of Enterprise with Lieutenant Hayes, right? Major.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I did. I joined the Federation recently, but I didn't get any patches yet.
Well, it depends. There's like a couple organizations. There's the Federation, there's Starfleet Command, there's Starfleet International. Starfleet Command, the one that I belong to, is the oldest. Started many, many years ago in Texas. You can trace it back to some of the original people. And then International and Command kind of split off from each other. There's a whole thing about that. Traces back to the Welcome Committee, whole lot of things. But it's kind of a neat history to know how those fan clubs kind of started. But Starfleet Command is about, I'd say 30, 35, actually I think closer to 40 years old. We've been around for a long time. Absolutely. Wow. A lot of old fans with us.
Wow.
So, Homer, do you have a favorite? I know you've got a favorite Molly time, Molly episode, Molly moment.
Sure. I loved her dialogue in this one, first off, and I think she nailed it. I don't like to repeat what has been said before, but I was going to go with If Wishes Were Horses.
Rumpelstiltskin.
But, yeah, Rumpelstiltskin and Buck Bokai and a bunch of other folks. I mean, we covered that a little while ago. So I think I have to go with something else. And so in season 6, there's one where Molly is thrown into the past, I think it is, and OBrien goes back to save her. Now I have to look and check and see what it's called. It's called Time's Orphan. So you have someone else who's playing Molly there, and she has I guess it's not exactly a Hana Hatay episode. But anyway,
well,
that's
she
my
is
favorite.
Well, no,
Molly
she
O'Brien.
is.
Yeah.
She's in it off and on, but then they get the 10-year older Molly that comes through.
Exactly.
Like a cave woman or whatever.
Yeah, and so it's all about her. She didn't have a family at all. She was just surviving on this planet pretty much by herself and did whatever she had to do. And then she is introduced to this concept of family and has to get to know them and acclimate to that. So that's the one that I'm going to go with. Yep.
Hana, Hana was just telling Cirroc and I about that in the previous segment. Remember that, Cirroc, where she was that was her favorite episode to shoot because they shot the outdoor scenes at a park that she always used to go to anyway. So to her, it was just like hanging out at her favorite park, having a picnic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I can also relate to filming on location outdoor somewhere. is always more fun than being on the soundstage. We did the baseball episode. That was one of the funnest days of filming. I think for the whole 7 seasons, the baseball day, we were all hanging out at the baseball field and
beautiful
throwing balls
weather
around, playing catch fly. And
speaking of, I have your glove right here.
Yeah,
oh, it's green, so it's going to be hard to see.
It's disappearing.
I have your disappearing glove.
Yeah, no wonder I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So yeah, being outside is just like, those are the moments that you remember, just being on location.
Cirroc, were you big on baseball back then anyway, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was big on baseball. Baseball was my first. One of my first loves as far as athleticism and sports. Before I found basketball, I was into baseball and collected cards, and I still have all my old baseball cards. My Pete Roses and my Ken Griffey Juniors is.
And maybe a Kenny Lofton in there too?
I've got a Kenny Lofton in there somewhere.
Nice. Yeah.
That's your uncle, or what is it?
It's a cousin of mine, and James Lofton is my uncle. So,
wow.
I got a Lofton. We've got one football player, one baseball player, one actor, and we've got a musician as well, a jazz musician who was at the Grammys this weekend. So, shout out to Jeff Lofton.
And also, I have a shirt that's going to come. It's the Sisko Kid.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Sisko Kid.
So there's another Lofton in there too. Yeah,
there is another Lofton in there as well. Yeah,
I'm sure there are a lot of talented Loftons.
Yeah, sounds like. And your sister is designing T-shirts and other stuff. And
she does, and she's pretty awesome. She taught herself how to do all that, and
very talented Loftons.
Decided to go and do that. Thank you. Yeah. So it's been a real pleasure to be a part of the Lofton family, and
very very lofty goals. Yeah.
It's been really
good. Speaking of baseball cards too. By the way, I was cleaning a couple of days ago. I found all my old baseball cards, and there are other cards in there, including a bunch of Star Trek cards that I forgot I had, and they are in really good condition. There's some really cool. There's a Jake Sisko rookie card.
Yeah.
I guess what I mean by first season, it's like first season of Voyager, so it's like Voyager rookie cards. And I've got my old Barry Bonds and Shaquille O'Neal rookies and all that kind of stuff in there. That's fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite cards, actually, if not my favorite
card, right? Pick card?
Oh, boy.
Pick card, yeah. No, it's... I've got a Sisko card, a Captain Sisko card that comes with a piece of the baseball jersey from the episode.
Wow.
I guess so. They
wow.
They gave out a few. Yeah, they cut up the jersey and they gave out a little piece of it on the card, and that is actually has become my favorite card out of all the cards. It's an autograph Avery Brooks Sisko jersey card with a piece of the jersey from the game.
Real quick, I want to do a quick shout out to a friend of mine named Jamie Nieto. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but when you're talking about shooting the baseball scenes outside, I did a baseball movie myself. I played Bill Mazeroski in a Roberto Clemente movie shot down in Long Beach. And it was so fun because in between scenes, we're like, take your time. You're just playing catch. You're just throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spring day. You're like, there's no hurry. You guys take your time. We're going to hang out outside and just play and have fun. Jamie Nieto, who was an Olympic high jumper, he played Roberto Clemente. And he's great, really, really good guy, really great actor. And a couple years ago, he was doing a backflip and he landed on his head, broke his spine, was paralyzed, and he was never supposed to walk again, but he was determined, and he was determined to be able to walk down the aisle with his girlfriend, and he did it recently. So shout out to my friend, Mr. Jamie Nieto. Check him out. Really an incredible story. Actually, he posted a picture yesterday with Kobe. He's pretty well known now for what he's accomplished, but Shout out to Jamie, our good friend.
Wow. Nice.
Very.
Really inspirational guy.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't have the, inner strength to push themselves that hard, because it takes, the physical therapy and all that entails, and I'm sure there's some surgeries involved. That's it's incredibly inspiring.
So, I think we've done a lot of good here today. You guys have any final thoughts or last words?
No, I do, because I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we love Kobe Bryant out here in Los Angeles, California, and I'm sure all over the world.
Yeah.
And his loss is a big hole in my heart. It's been a tough 6 months, really, just the amount of people that have been falling away. And, it just makes me have more awareness for the time that we all spend together here, and just the friendships that we have, how much we got to cherish these moments. So,
and
it's sad that
there was 2 very young lives, 13-year-old girls. I don't know if they've updated anything, but Alyssa is the coach's daughter, and Gianna,
Gianna, I think.
Was Kobe's daughter, and they were both 13, and that's just.
Yeah, as a parent, there's nothing worse than that. Any parent would rather just be the one to go instead. And so, we all feel that loss in Los Angeles and the world. Yeah. He's somebody that I got to know personally early in his career. Good friendship with him. I have nothing but good memories about him. And I met him when I was doing DS9. And one thing that I felt we had in common was that we kind of grew up in front of the world, and having the world's watch you grow up in front of in front of them is something special, and it's a reason why we're really gonna miss the guy.
Yep.
Yeah, growing up a Warriors fan, you can imagine how I felt about the team and the player that would literally beat us like 20 times in a row for just years and years and years. And there were times where the Warriors would be up 10 with like 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and somehow the Lakers still won the game because Kobe Bryant would do ridiculous things. And we all knew it was going to happen. It was this guy that we love to hate, because we knew it really doesn't matter what we do. He's going to be this magical guy that's going to do something ridiculous and give us a better draft pick, basically. And, there were he's given us some pretty good quotes. Like one time when the Warriors did finally beat him, and they said, what do you think of the Warriors? And he says, nothing, we won't see him in the playoffs. It's like, and he was always very classy. And I do want to say that in the basketball community, it's like a brotherhood. And all of the NBA players are feeling it, not just the Laker players, not just, the ones that played with him, but all the ones that looked up to him, all of the fans. I mean, the Warriors community is so broken up about it. It just shows the kind of person he was, that he transcends everything, especially that it was at such a young age, and he seemed so untouchable and almost godlike that it's such a shock when somebody that seems untouchable and like a god and a legend just dies so young and so early and at the top of the height of everything.
Yeah. One thing I enjoyed about him was that he always showed us he gave his best, and he brought his best. So whether you loved him or hated him, you knew that you were going to get a top level performance out of him. And another thing that I enjoyed about him was to see the transition that he made from being this competitive killer to now being more of a father and enjoying his life after basketball. Something we all wanted to see him excel in and watch his daughters, grow up and be players themselves. So we all were wishing and rooting for his postseason brilliance to emerge. And, it's just a terrible, tragic loss, man. I'm somebody I really call a friend. He let me in his life and got to know him and his family really well. And I mean, he knew who I was. He watched a little bit of DS9, so he was aware of what we were doing. And so he was definitely a part of my life. So I'm sad about it.
It's always hard when somebody touches your life in some way, that even if you didn't see them on a daily basis, that's something that we've seen with Aron, is just the small little things that you can remember that person, either they inspired you or they had a friendship, or they influenced your life in some way, and then you lose them. So there's just a absence, a hole that really can't be filled.
I'll be really looking forward to the tribute they give him at the All-Star game next month. I'm sure he's going to get a really nice tribute. And I believe he is eligible to enter the Hall of Fame starting this year. So he's going to be a unanimous pick, and probably another really good tribute there. I'm really looking forward to how people honor him going forward,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, friends. Well, thanks very much. Thank you for bringing that up, Cirroc. And we do want to thank HANA HATAE for Imo Radka, Rex Wood, Dennis Koch, Homer Frizzell, Commander Homer, Eve England, Kat R. King, Heather Jordan, Russ Hasledge, Cirroc Lofton. I'm Ryan T. Husk, and always remember the 7th.